Oh, look at that. Getting some really nice color. Hey, this is Brett, the Hoosier Carnivore. I'm doing the lion diet and I need the beef. What can I make? I don't know. Well, I've been making steaks, been making hamburgers, been making lamb chops. I even got some beef bacon that I haven't made yet, but I'm going to make. What else is there? Well, I think it's time to make a brisket. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to trim this up, how I'm going to season it, and then we're going to smoke it on Big Joe. So stay tuned. Can't wait to get started. Let's go make a brisket. All right, so here we go. We got our brisket unwrapped and laid out here and just getting a look at it. I've got some freezer paper that has like a wax backing on it, taped down to the stove, and we're just going to look this thing over. When you're trimming up a brisket, you just, you want to get rid of some of this extra fat and any kind of like loose pieces of stuff that are on here. We're just going to cut that off. And, we're carnivores, so we're going to save this stuff. This is great beef tallow, and we're going to save that and cook it down later. So I'm going to go around this brisket, trim it up. But right now, we're just going to trim off some of this fat, and you want to make sure you're using a really nice sharp knife. Today, I'm using a fillet knife that I've had for a long time. It's about a 6 or 7 inch fillet knife, and I just freshly sharpened it up, so it's really nice and sharp. And you want to have a really nice and sharp knife because it'll make doing this a whole lot easier. So, all right, we'll just keep hacking away at it. Try not to get any of the meat off because we want all this fat we want all the fat that's on it to render down. And basically with a brisket, if you don't want it on there at the end of the cook, take it off now. Kind of true up that side a little bit. See, we got a little pretty thin spot in our end, in our flat here. So probably what we're going to do is we're going to round that off and get some of that that really thin part off, because it's just going to overcook, and it's just not going to be very tender or juicy by the end of the cook. So we'll go ahead and trim that and round that off and make the brisket look nice and presentable. But we're carnivores, so we don't care much for presentation. But we're doing a video and want to make it look nice for everyone. So I'm gonna trim that end over there, and then just kind of do a nice little curved cut on there. Kind of round that off. You want to make your brisket almost aerodynamic. So we got a little thing of fat hanging off right there. We're going to take that little dude off. I'll work some more on this silver skin. Try not to make this part of the video too boring, but any of this hard fat, don't know if you can hear that. You know, it's kind of a hard fat right there. We want to take off some of that. You know, it's like cutting hair. You know, you just got to take it off a little bit of a time. You know, because you can't put it back on. Got a nice big fat cap here along the side. I'm going to take that off. And like I said, we're going to save this beef fat because this is gold, and that's going to get cooked down into beef tallow, which we can use to drizzle over it, and we can also save it for cooking, you know, hamburgers or whatever. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of this out of here. I don't want to create like a big pocket or anything, but I do want to get some of this harder fat out of here because that won't render down. It's a harder fat compared to this kind of fat. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but there you go. Alright, I don't like this little flappy thing we got here, but I'm not going to take that, I don't think I'm going to take that meat off. I'm just going to leave it. If it ends up getting too done, then I guess it does. Oh, by the way, this is my first brisket. This is brisket number 1 for Hoosier Carnivore. Now, I've had brisket before, and I have to admit something to you guys. I'm not a big fan of brisket. I know. But something about the, you know, this is a different kind of muscle than, you know, what you find in a ribeye or a New York strip or even a sirloin. But smoked up, yeah, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. The way I used to have them when I was a kid, my mother would bake these in the oven and have like a, I don't know, like a glaze they would put on it, and I just didn't like it. So I guess that's where my dislike for brisket originates. But smoked brisket, yeah, I like it. Is it my absolute most favorite thing in the world? No, that would still be a ribeye. Ribeye is my absolute most favorite part of the cow. This is an odd looking brisket. I don't like that big cut right there. Thanks a lot, Costco. I don't know where that came from. But what we want to do, so this is the back, the fat side. So what we want to do here is we want to shave this down to where, you know, on the internet, you know, most of the people are trimming that to about 1/4 of an inch. So we'll try to do the same thing. And you just want to take off little bits at a time. You definitely want to get off this kind of rubbery fat that's on here. You want to be very careful while you're working with sharp instruments to not cut yourself. Always reminds me of that old Saturday Night Live with Dan Aykroyd, where he's playing, it's Julia Childs, one of the original OG cooking channels, and he cuts himself and the blood goes flying everywhere. It's hilarious. Alright, So we're not going to bore you with this too much longer. I'm going to go ahead and finish trimming this up, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to season it, and then I'm going to leave it in the refrigerator for a day, let the seasonings get in there, and then tomorrow morning we're going to get up early and we're going to get this thing on the smoker. So stay tuned for that. I got to wash my hands. Alright, so we got our brisket trimmed out and we're getting ready to season it up. I just wanted to show you some of the trimmings I got off of it. These are all the fat trimmings. We're going to add some water to this, cook it down on the oven, and then we'll get some really nice beef tallow out of this. So, alright, so for this brisket, I think I am going to go with my good stuff. But, hey, hold on, where are you guys going? This is a fiasco. Hold on. So, back to the seasoning. I reformulated this, took the monk fruit sweetener out, so it's now salt, pepper, garlic, paprika, and onion powder. That's what we got in here. This is great on steaks, chicken, pork. It's pretty much good on everything. So I'm going to use this on my brisket. I may put a little extra pepper on it because, you know, people kind of want more pepper and it helps build a bark. So I'm going to go ahead and use my good stuff, and then we're going to top it off with some coarse ground black pepper to finish off the seasoning. So here we go. All right, so when you're seasoning these things, it's pretty much just hit it. This is a big piece of meat, so you don't have to worry about getting too much seasoning. It's a big piece of meat. It can take a lot. That's looking pretty good. And you want to get all sides, even the sides. Oh, look at that. I'm going to press it in. You don't want to rub it. You just want to press it. And here's my cutting of the big fat in here. I took it out. There's more fat down in there, but you don't want to make a cave. You don't want to make like a meat cave out of it. You just want to, and this will cook and render down and shrink up. So this is how I've seen a lot of other people do it on the interwebs. So it should work good for me. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but this is my first brisket. Going to smoke it on my Kamado Joe kettle smoker, ceramic kettle smoker. And I think it's going to be great. Is it the most ideal smoker to use for a brisket? Some would say. I really like the smoker, but you know, it seems like all the pros seem to use the offset kind, but I don't have one of those. So we're going to do this on Big Joe, and it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be awesome. All right. And we're going to park this in the refrigerator overnight too, so this all gets happy. Oop, missed a spot. Yep, don't be stingy with the seasonings. It's a big old piece of meat. All right. Here's our, they call it kind of our presentation side. Get this seasoned up. into the fridge. And I can't wait to smoke this thing tomorrow. The plan is to smoke it at about 225 degrees because this isn't a huge brisket. And I got to weigh it to see how much it ended up weighing. But it was 13.38 in the plastic. And I took easily another 2 pounds off of it. So I'm going to figure this is a 10 to 11 pound brisket. Not a real big one. I didn't want to start my first brisket with like a 20 pounder. So let me get that in there real good. So I went with the smallest one that they had in the store. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. We'll find out. But it should also make for a cook that doesn't last all day and all night to get it done, which is kind of my thing too. I don't have that kind of time. Just make sure I get this in real good. All right. Put that in there. Get all the little crevices full of seasoning. All right. There we have it. The paprika and the seasoning should give this a really nice color when it's done. I know it does on the steaks. Uh-oh, we didn't get that good enough, did we? Look at that. The horror! A missed spot of seasoning. There we go. Editing Brett here. Now that I'm going through this video, I'm looking at the way I had this thing cut. I definitely should have cut more off of the flat. As you'll see at the end of the video on how this thing turned out, that end got very overdone and some of it wasn't really even edible. And then that big fat point on the end that had that flappy piece of extra meat, probably should have cut that off too. You know, lessons were learned, like I said, like I will say here at the end, but lessons were learned. And I guess I was just a little afraid of taking too much meat off and being wasteful, when I should have been more concerned about the quality of my finished product and what it was going to mean for how this thing was going to turn out. So next time I won't be as forgiving with trimming it down. I'll probably end up taking much more off. So, well, let me know what you think about that in the comments. You know, this is a learning experience, and we're learning. Okay, back to the show. Hey, good morning. It's the next day now. Getting ready to start my cook, and wanted to take you guys through the process. Got Big Joe opened up here, and let me see if we can get this moved. Got my basket cleaned out. So I got all the old charcoal cleaned out. Not going to recycle any charcoal this time. We're going to start with a fresh basket. And I'm going to use this stuff, B&B. I've had really good luck with this charcoal. It's a little cheaper than some of the other ones. And what we want is a nice, this stuff is always nice big chunks of oak. So we're gonna get a full basket of charcoal going. I'm gonna use, instead of my standard electric starter that I normally use, I want this one to start right in the middle, and we're just gonna use one of these fire starters. It comes in these little blocks. And you just take these and just break off a couple, and it's like it's saturated with like a fat wood kind of material, kind of stuff, fibrous, and they light and they catch the charcoal on fire, and it's a nice, natural, safe way to start your charcoal in a ceramic smoker, because you never want to use lighter fluid in a ceramic smoker. All right, so we got the basket filled up. We got some nice chunks of hickory in here. Got our 2 fire starters ready to go. So let's get this pit lit. Let's go. All right, the pit is lit. Got a little fire started there in the middle. We'll wait until those little fire catchers down there burn out and we get our fire going. All right, this thing is getting the party started. So I'm excited. We're out here, it's cold, but hey, we're making brisket today, baby. As you can see, those little fire starter squares do a pretty good job getting this fire going. Here's the star of the show. Here's our brisket. Got it all seasoned up. It's been in the fridge overnight, and I added a little more black pepper to the top and to the bottom. I'm a little worried about how thick the point is out here, but I think it'll be okay. It's going to be good. I'm going to get my meat thermometer installed. I'm going to use the Weber iGrill again. Works pretty good. Ended up being right at about 11 pounds. So we figure, 45 minutes probably per pound. I'm planning to smoke them at probably 225 to 250. As long as I'm in that range, we should be good. And should take, I don't know, I'm guessing 8 hours to do the cook. Want to get it to an internal temperature, I think probably around 190. I'm going to double check that. And then we'll pull it out and we'll wrap it. But we'll go through the process. No need to get ahead of ourselves. All right, our fire is looking pretty good. We're starting to get a little bit of white ash in there. We got a nice center thing of coals going, looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this on so it can start warming up. All right, here we go. Pit's coming up to temperature. We got our brisket put on here. Now we get the most heat coming out of the back of these, so I'm putting the point end, the thickest part, towards the back. We got our heat probe set up and got some nice looking smoke going. So we're going to close her up and we'll be back in a few more hours. Nighty night. All right, first checkup on the brisket. Internal temperature is right about 74, and look at that. We are cooking right where we want to be, 225 degrees. Got it set just over 1 on the top vent, and we're just like a half a finger width on the bottom. So got some nice smoke rolling out of there. You can just barely see it. Things are rolling well, and can't wait till this thing's done. All right, checking in for the second time. Current temperature is 150 degrees, and I think I'm going to take a peek at it. Oh, look at that. Getting some really nice color. No fat pooling up on it. It did shrink up as I was expecting, but it's looking great. So just about 40 more degrees to go, and then I think we pull it off and wrap it. Bye-bye. All right, let's check on this thing again. Oh yeah, Looking good. Just gonna give it a little spritz with some water. Keep it moist. Temperature is about 165. We'll let it go a little longer and then we're gonna wrap it. All right, getting a little late in the day, but I wrapped our brisket. The temperature is at 176 now, and yeah, it's stalled out for a couple hours, and I don't understand why. So looks like we're not having brisket for dinner tonight. I want to do the cook properly and get it all done, so I think we're just gonna do like burgers or something on the grill for dinner. But I'll keep you guys updated on the brisket. Yeah, it was a little disappointing, not having the brisket done in time for dinner. I should have started it last night and just let it gone overnight. Next time I'll know. But yeah, it stalled out in the 160s for probably at least 2 hours. So I went ahead and pulled it off and wrapped it in butcher paper, and I opened the vents a little bit, got the pit up to 275 degrees. Now we're waiting for the meat to hit about 203. That's kind of the optimal temperature. And then, I'll take it out, we'll wrap it up. Well, I'll let it cool a little bit. I just watched a video where a guy, he took his brisket out, he let it cool to 180, and then he re-wrapped it, put it in a cooler, and let it rest for several hours. So I think I'm going to try that method because it seems to make a lot of sense, and I want the most tender brisket that I can get. So we're going to do that, and we're going to have brisket for dinner tomorrow. So stay tuned. All right, so the brisket's done, and I don't know. I think it got a little overdone. I think cooking it on the Big Joe, it didn't get enough heat deflection, so it got pretty overcooked on the bottom. I'll show you here in a second. And the ends on the point and the flat both got overcooked and came out pretty tough. Not quite as juicy as I would hope, and it took a lot longer. So did learn a lot from this cook. I learned that I should have started it probably in the middle of the night and then let it cook through into the next day, and then it could rest, and then we could eat it fresh. But here it's Monday. It didn't finish resting until very early this morning, and then I had to put it in the refrigerator, and now we're reheating it to have it for dinner tonight. So didn't exactly come out great, but I'll show you here. Here we go. All right, so here's some of my overcooked pieces from the end. Didn't come out great. My end of the point got kind of overcooked and is dry. All right, and I've already sliced up the flat. Did get a nice smoke ring. The bottom piece where you don't see a smoke ring, that's where I took off the overcooked part on the bottom. Got some nice burnt ends off of it, which look pretty good. I've tasted them a couple times. They look pretty good. But here's our roast. Not quite as juicy as I would like, but then again, I did have to reheat it. Did get a really nice bark set on it. The bark is really good. The fat rendered nicely. It's got a lot of moisture in it. I think it was just the timing. The timing was off. Here's the side where I cut the burnt ends off. You can see it got a pretty nice smoke penetration. So that all worked really well. But, you live, you learn. You cook a brisket, you learn some more. And my next brisket will be better. Not that this one's bad, but could definitely have room for improvement. So it is what it is. We're going to eat it because carnivores don't waste meat. So just wanted to say thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'm like 25 subscribers away from hitting 1,000 subs. So if you like this video, if you like any of my content and you haven't subbed, please sub to my channel. Like the videos, comment, and oh, my little boy Bryce, he has his own channel.
It's at Fire Safety Guy, and it has the pole station with the cage on it. That's
okay.
The little icon for it. And please subscribe to Who's Your Carnivore.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. And yeah, he's got his little channel that he plays around with called Fire Safety Guy. So.
I have over 12. I have over 12 videos on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
I only have 74 views.
Wow. So, and I think you only have 3 or 4 subs, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's it for now. We'll talk to you later. Oh, and if you're watching this, Saturday, April 27th, 11 o'clock, meet up, Indianapolis, Wolfie's Grill at Geist Reservoir. This Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern. Got about 20 people coming. So if you want to attend, at this point, you could just show up if you want, or just shoot me an email at who'syourcarnivore@gmail.com. And hopefully we'll see you Saturday. Thanks for watching.